term normal is largely just a social construct, but it's not an inherently bad one. It's what says murder is bad, and I tend to agree with that. But when we apply normal to an individual, that's completely subjective. You get to make decisions every single day that determines your normal, whether it's good or bad. Now, unfortunately, your normal also includes your circumstances, which are things that you don't have any control over. Those are things that you have to accept. So, for example, one of my best friends, at age 24, discovered he was allergic to gluten, soy, and corn. And if you haven't looked at the food label in a while, those three things are basically in everything, right? So he was having a bad time. But the problem was he didn't know about any of this for like 6 months. So he spent at least once a week puking because he had something that he shouldn't have had, and then his body just rejected it. He felt terrible for 6 months. That was his normal. He got used to feeling terrible. And then he finally did an elimination diet and found out it was those three things, and then that became his normal. He started having to go to the grocery store, read the back of food labels, and see, oh, gluten, I can't have this. It's gonna make me feel terrible. He didn't know what was making him feel terrible, and he felt terrible. Now he knows what makes him feel terrible, and he gets to make the decision whether he's gonna feel terrible or not. And most people in that situation, him included, they're gonna choose not to feel terrible. But the problem is that so many normal things in everyday life are making you feel terrible. Or there's normal things that you're not doing that could make you not feel terrible, right? But we never choose those. So things like exercise, eating correctly, not drinking alcohol, those are three things that could enhance your normal. But so many people don't exercise, so many people don't have a good diet, and so many people drink alcohol in excess, right? Same thing with smoking. There's so many of these positives and negatives that are affecting your normal. So what I want you to do is take a good hard look at everything that you do on a daily basis and figure out how it's impacting your normal. Because you never know if your normal is good or bad. I recently just did an elimination diet and found out I can't have caffeine, some fruits, and nut products. I was having those things every single day. So my normal was like here, and that was normal for me. I felt good. But when I eliminated those things, I was a completely different person, just not understanding that those things were hurting me. Same thing that I did when I gave up alcohol 2 years ago. Gave it up, still haven't had it. It is a world of a difference, right? And I'm not saying that you have to give it up. I'm not saying that you have to do all of these things all the time, but understand what you do and how it affects you, because how you're feeling right now, you're used to that. But I'm telling you, it can be better. So what I want you to start doing is logging all of the things that you do and dropping them into a bucket of positive and negative. And what we want to do is increase the positives and decrease the negatives. So things like exercising, proper nutrition, put those in the positive category and do those more often. Things like smoking and drinking in excess and staying up too late, put those in the negative bucket and decrease those as much as you can. But you have to realize that things in your positive bucket can become negative. So one thing in my positive bucket is my social interactions, right? But you could be in an abusive relationship, and that would go from the positive to the negative bucket. Same thing with exercise. Exercise is something that everyone considers positive, but if you do it too much or you do it in a bad way, it gets thrown over in the negative bucket. We never realize what our normal is until it gets better. All of a sudden you feel better, or conversely, all of a sudden you feel worse. And largely, it's just things that happen to you unless you make the conscious decision to change those things. So when I gave up alcohol, I gave it up for exercise reasons. There's no way that I could go out on a Saturday and then ride a bike for 8 hours on a Sunday. There's no way that I could do that and recover in time to do that. So I just completely gave it up for exercise reasons. But then I realized how good I felt after I gave that up, and that became my new normal. A few examples of my positive bucket is exercise, learning, and social interactions. I try to maximize those as much as I can because that gives me fulfillment and purpose. Those are things that are going to increase my normal. And on the flip side, a few things that I'm trying to minimize are sweets, because I can't just have one, I have to have the entire package. Social media, because I don't get any fulfillment from that. And video games, but only in excess. I'm not going on a crusade against video games. It's only when I'm playing video games and I should be doing something else that I'm responsible for. Those are 3 things that I try to minimize to increase my normal. So I want to hear in the comments down below, how are you changing your normal today? If you found this video helpful or enjoy personal, professional, or financial development, go ahead and click that red subscribe button down there. I'm putting out 2 to 3 videos every single week geared towards giving you tools to succeed in and after college. I'm proud of you, I love you, and I'll see you next time.